seems to work. That it's
You make a valid point. How do we know if what we observe is trustworthy? And I think that I can summarize it like this. If we can observe, there's something to observe. Ergo, there is a minute axiom. If there is anything axiomatic, it will necessarily be a central point around which other axioms can be derived. I think the fact that there are axioms, that there are absolutes, demonstrates that there is a nature to reality that can be discovered. And I think mathematics reveals a lot of it. I will say that I agree, a lot of what we think we discover we may not fully understand. But what they found mathematically is that there are digital limits which constrain our existence in the same way there are digital limits which constrain the simulation in a video game or a computer. And I think what we encounter when we encounter UFOs isn't necessarily something that's alien to us as it is alien to the digital space of our existence. As in, they're in another space, like a fractal above. You know what a fractal is, right?
Right, but nobody's going to care until you have empirical evidence. Until they can stand on the news and show you some shit that they pulled out of another dimension and couldn't have existed. Nobody's going to give a fuck.
I think there is empirical evidence. I think it's not something that's the same way as if I drop this, it's always going to fall, though. And I think it's for this reason. You got Mario, right? You ever play a video game and there's a glitch? And you know, you find that glitch isn't how things are supposed to work. It's in a weird spot. It looks like there's a wall there, but if you jump just right, you jump through the wall, right? That's a glitch. That would be a piece of empirical evidence if you were in the video game to prove that the video game is not the be-all and end-all existence. That glitch shouldn't be there. There are glitches like that in our reality. I don't think they're necessarily glitches, but that's a way to understand.
Again, all your
and a glitch would
really
be a
comes
UFO.
down to as an analogy to a video game, though.
Well, okay.
Which is a human constructed, of the neofrontal cortex categories.
I'm using that as an illustration. I think you see it reflected in nature mathematically through Fibonacci's number, which is naturally involved in many organisms that are flora and fauna. The snail's shell follows Fibonacci ratios. The growth of sunflower seeds follows Fibonacci ratios. So you have
it's the best way for shit to grow.
Well, it is, and it's interesting. Oops, sorry. It's interesting.
Best way for shit to grow, bro.
It's interesting to me that you have so many numerical relationships like that exist naturally in nature. We hear things like nature abhors a vacuum, nature doesn't make straight edges. And we assume that because of that, nature itself around us has no design or anything to it. But it could be that the straight edge isn't necessarily the most elegant way to design something. I think the spiral proves that. I think the way the human body is designed.
What for you necessitates a designer?
The fact that you've got...
Why couldn't it just be growing like that because that's the plant's version of consciousness, like how they lean toward the light when they need it, or like...
It doesn't make sense to me that something which has so many integral, complicated components and cannot be replicated by our intelligence came about through no guidance.
But we're here.
Right, but
we're fucking weird.
Yeah.
As far as everything else on this planet.
We're intelligent. We can make this, we can make that, we can make that camera, this thing right
weird
here.
In a good way.
We can smoke weed, we can turn grain into this, and it's delicious and carbonated. All right, we can do all that. But you know what we can't do? We can't make a computer that can be planted in soil, watered, and grow into a computer tree which poops out other computers. We can't make a robot.
We're highly specialized.
Yeah, we can't do these.
For kick-ass.
We can't do. We can't with
the
our.
most productive people are in America.
There are computer trees. There are people that just piss in the ground and other people
We've got
out.
Okay.
Last
week. Catch up. Okay.
Americans actually, we
do it
can't.
with me now.
Just like in Wolf of Wall Street.
That was a crazy ass movie. That's like the height of that'll be looked at as the
yeah.
the drug addicted hedonism era.
It's a fact.
One of the best ones in the fucking in the version. Man.
But you know, that's the thing. We, as intelligent as we are, cannot design life. And we are intelligent designers.
What do you have to say about blue roses, bro? We designed that shit, dude.
Oh, we didn't design roses though. That's just messing with.
Yeah, the roses were there.
That's just tweaking the formula. That's saying I salted.
We gave the roses feminism.
No, that's doing this, man. That's taking some salt and putting the salt on the dish a chef made and being like, ah, look, I made a new dish because I salted this. No, the chef made it. You just threw something on it. You know, all the stuff was already there.
Blue roses weren't serious.
No, okay, all right. I'll get it.
I'm disingenuous with you.
It's all good. But yeah, so I think I can get into. I think I know what happened at Roswell. I really do, and I think I can go into it, but it would take a really long time because I've got a lot of stuff I need to make so you can understand where I'm coming from. Otherwise, it just sounds batshit.
Bennett, compile a dossier.
Oh, I can go about it. I can go about it step by step right now.
By Thursday at 11 a.m.
Actually, that might be a really funny idea for a sketch, is if I just gave it to you as quick as I could, and you're just like, what? Of course, it would be...
I'm really interested in this. Fucking the go-getter here.
Well, I mean, you know, I figure our audience will like it a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I'm already the weird one on the sketch show. There's a gal named Jen who hasn't caught a famous, but...
Harvey assistant breaks NDA details cover up history.
Look at him. He's just so...
I would hate to be Jeff Garland right now because he looks
so
similar.
He does look a lot like him.
He's so similar.
Yeah, Jeff Garland will be the guy who plays Harvey Weinstein in the biopic you watch.
That'd be a torturous role to take on right there.
Oh, but it'd be a comedy. It'd be a dark comedy. It'll be directed by Tim Burton. And,
they'll have knives and fingers.
That's right. Harvey Weinstein.
Knives and fingers.
No. It'll be...
I'm taking you out for caviar.
How do you rhyme?
Let's make some movies.
Jeff Garland is Harvey Weinstein in a movie directed by Tim Burton. Harvey Weinstein hands.
Directed by Larry David.
Larry David.
Who's also the guest star.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
I haven't seen any of the new Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Me neither.
I kind of want to watch it.
I've noticed, you know, I kind of like it sometimes, but Larry David's got that wild look in his eye. He's got that evil look.
Oh man.
He does. I like
He's a good actor.
He is. He's got that look though. You've seen it, you know what I mean? There's a look in certain people's eyes. You don't have it. I don't have it. I hope I don't have it.
He just looks kind of stressed out and hilarious.
Oops. Igor doesn't have it. You'll have to edit that out. He does look stressed out and
You
hilarious.
talking about Igor again?
Yeah, but I said the wrong name.
What's that name, bro?
Whoops.
No, I was thinking I was going to do it.
Do what?
Accidentally say
Igor.
Igor's through identity.
I've messed up like 3 times now. Make sure you edit it. I don't want to get him in trouble.
He abuses us. He tells us not to release his...
No, it's a good move career-wise out here in LA. There's a lot of conservatives that do it. I just can't see... I don't know that it's good to remain quiet. I don't want to go out blaring that I'm conservative, but I don't want to live a lie either. And the good Lord's blessed me with a job and a way of living that even if they don't accept me based on my politics, I can still make money and I can still hit the open mics. So I'm going to do it that way. And hopefully, you know, I've been blessed with a few really good gigs the last couple of weeks, and I hope that trend continues, you know.
French accent.
Oui, oui.
Was the accordion?
Oui, oui. Well, I'm going to be at Sal's on Saturday, and then on Wednesday I'm going to be at Flappers. And I've got something in November and 2 in December. Better look at my calendar so I don't miss it.
Live in your face, bitches.
All right, so we've got.
The fresh I've seen.
Is that a wrap?
Yeah, wrap for the podcast.
What time is it? It's 10:15.
So too. Looks like we're still recording audio.
We got an hour and 36 on there.
All right.
We cut out.
What should we call the Outrage TV fan base? I think Outrage TV Army. That's too militant.
Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate yous.
Godspeed and party on. That Boss Ruben shit.
Well, we're in for
Godspeed.
I like that. Okay, so we got to come up with something there. Well, you know, they're our fellow travelers.
So not that serious. We're
no,
just trying to
fucking. Good point. No, this is good branding. I'm with it. They're our brothers. They're our family. They're our extended family. They're our awakened. They're real people. That's it. They're the real folks. Our followers are the real folks, I think. We're folks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're looking at the truth. We're the real folks.
The political angle gets so
because we're looking at it.
It gets so confrontational that I just focus on what do you do empirically. What's the moral standard you're striving to? What do you and be honest about the mistakes you make.
You're just looking for tangibility, yeah.
And just be real about it.
Yeah.
That's all you need from a person, but it's like.
Well, and I think what's interesting here, because like, all right, I'm Christian, I believe the Bible, etc. And you're not, right?
I am an atheist. Yes.
You're all right.
Or no, atheist.
Right. It's all good. Both started with they were having fun tonight. But we're on opposite sides there, but we agree on the truth of the situation, which is that the shenanigans we're seeing right now politically are very bad for everybody. They're not good. And I think our audience is in a similar spot. You know, they're not so much caring about where we're coming from on a moral or a spiritual or a lifestyle basis as much as we want to see the most freedom for everybody. We want to see the truth. We don't want to be enslaved by a globalist elite.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's no kind of positive obligation or anything. It's a list of things you probably shouldn't do.
Yeah.
You shouldn't kill people.
Right? It's not good.
You shouldn't rape them. You shouldn't steal from them.
Just don't be a dick. You know, just.
What are the others?
You know, parents bring you up, be nice to them. You know, it's hard to be a parent, and you were a little asshole. You know, honor those folks. You know, don't say something happened that didn't. I mean, why are you doing that? What's your point there? You're doing something shady. No, let's not have any of that false witness shenanigans. Take a day off once a week.
It's all an avoidance of any kind of like confrontation, negative or positive, and like in the sense of positive, like just a competitive environment where you got to step your game up.
Right.
That's why people get so inspired by sports.
Yeah.
Because like you just see guys do that like in the physical manifestation of it at the ultimate athletic level, and just like.
There's some fun there, and I think it's a pity that sports are used as a smokescreen.
Yeah, the NFL is like.
Yeah.
Really just.
Well, it's such a political entity. It's used as a propagandizing machine. It's used to hoodwink the populace. I mean, look at the advertisements. I like saying advertisements, even though I should say advertisements. That's
Trump is like just surrounded
with
a bunch of rakes.
Yeah.
Every time somebody steps forward to talk shit to Donald Trump, they keep stepping on the rake, keeps hitting them in the face, and they really haven't learned yet. Like,
listen, Democrats, I've got the best rakes. It's a field of them. Don't come this way. You're gonna get raked in the face. They're all hidden among the fronds of the grass.
It's all about who can take the rake to the face, who becomes callous enough to.
And a bunch of these Democrats are just stepping in like, I like a rake. I'm gonna.
There's not many leftists with strong facial structures that are gonna withstand any kind of force. I think.
No.
I don't know. It's variable. You think The Rock's gonna run for president?
Oh my goodness. Well, I hope he runs against Kid Rock, because that would be a rockin' election. That election would rock. Either way, you'd get a rock in the White House.
Rocking into economic collapse. Just.
Do you want to vote for Kid Rock or The Rock? I'm the Rock that's not a kid anymore. That Rock's not even an adult.
Satan's going down. Man.
I'm Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and I approve this message.
So sexy to commandeer the economic.
No, he'd be like, I'm Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and I approve this message. He'd do the eyebrow thing.
You're completely fucked, but I'm charismatic. Oh, boom.
Can you smell what The Rock has debating in Congress?
They're redoing Jumanji, which
yeah, I saw that. It's going to be a video game.
I think it's going to bomb.
Oh, who knows? Probably. I can't believe. I mean, no Robin Williams. That's what made Jumanji. It really was.
First of all, it's too soon.
Yeah.
Robin Williams, what was that, like 3 years ago? 3 years ago?
Yeah. And they're probably going to have some crazy scene where he makes a cameo in it some weird way.
Oh, no, I hope not.
Did you see AI?
Oh my God, were they having like Tupac at Coachella, just hologrammed in Robin Williams? Like, oh my God.
I'm here from the netherworld. There's enough Robin Williams clips out there. They could construct a narrative that seems like it was authentic dialogue. I'm sure he's probably got a million words out there recorded in his voice.
I'll probably get over it. Like the initial what the fuck, and I'll be
well,
like,
they did it with Princess Leia.
Oh shit, they're doing it. If it was like really done well, it's like, fuck. This is like good. This new shit.
It would be weird too because Robin Williams was so on the top of his head. He did with his films a lot of what we're doing now. You understand? They would give him a script and he'd be like, well, what if we just, you do your lines and I'll just go through and do this. And they'd be like, all right, Robin, go improvise. And he did that with a lot of stuff. Some stuff he couldn't, of course, but there was a lot that he did. Hook, man, what a movie that was for everybody. Hook was a Star Wars kind of movie. I mean, that was a defining movie. Remember that? Remember the first time you saw Hook? Did you never see Hook? You gotta be getting... It's the Peter Pan movie with Robin Williams in it.
Oh.
You know Hook. Get out of my face. How can you not know Hook?
I somewhere misplaced that file and document in my brain, and I was like, that movie's called Peter Pan.
That movie's called Peter Pan.
Why would you make the movie about Captain Hook? He's the villain. Like, this is the beginning of
movie's
nihilism.
called Peter Pan.
This is the beginning of nihilism in 1991. Soon followed gangster rap, and then.
So I thought you were reading the. That's funny. It's only got a 6.7. How is that possible? How can Hook have a 6.7 out of 10?
Don't romanticize history on me, bro.
No, it was good.
Yeah, it was.
Like, you just don't know. You can't remember the name, and he called it Peter Pan.
People must.
Peter Pan.
People must
That's
be.
Peter Pan.
People must,
That was so funny.
People must be hating. I don't know. 6.7. Steven Spielberg.
That movie is like it's as integral as Star Wars to your childhood. I thought maybe not. It's not quite.
You
as
said you
good.
saw Jurassic Park for the first time at a drive-in too.
I did. It's Sky High Twin and
But that was a fucking movie experience.
Yeah, it was. I remember that scared the shit out of me. I also saw The Gods Must Be Crazy 2 in a drive-in.
I think I saw the second one there too.
Yeah.
You did.
I love The Gods Must Be Crazy. Those were great movies. Those were so fun.
The T-Rex and the long shots were like
Oh yeah.
about as big as you would think.
Oh, it scared the heck out of me. I was 5 or 6 maybe. What, did 92 or 93 the Jurassic Park came out?
I want to say 93. They may have been like replaying it because I had to be old enough to see it.
I remember being in the back of our station when I was a
In the
kid.
second.
And yeah.
Yeah, that was 93.
So I was 6.
Yeah, I read that Michael Crichton book too. It was really good.
I read that in an entire day. I was in the school.
Yeah, Michael Crichton is like a quick, like fun read.
Well, yeah, he's got some great stuff out there too. Did you ever read State of Fear? It's a good one.
They made a movie out of it, didn't they?
No, they didn't. They wouldn't. Because Michael Crichton, I think, would like our podcast. He's that kind of guy. Yeah, he wrote State of Fear about the ridiculousness of global warming. It's a great book. It really is. You gotta check it out. You gotta check it out. And it brings some amazing points to the fore that are just facts. And Michael Crichton was an atheist as well. He didn't. So that's one thing I like. I like when I encounter people who follow the facts, period. And I think where I've gotten is a place a lot of people are going to end up. I may be wrong. Who knows? I'm not perfect, but I believe it. I don't think I'm wrong. I'm just willing to throw the concession possibility out there if somebody had something to prove me. But the point is, people who are going to follow the facts and tell the truth, they're not going to be swayed by trend or political opinion or convenience. They're not going to trick themselves into believing a lie just because they're too lazy to keep going forward. And that's the kind of individual I think is our watcher. I think they're the kind of individuals who are like, you know what? We get this, we get reality, and what people are doing in politics and the movies and the news, and all this is not reality. So we're not going to believe in the BS. We're not going to follow that shenanigans. I think that's us. That's the truth. The truth's what's important. I really think it is. And I think I know what happened to Roswell, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, man. You're not taught how to think at a philosophical level.
No, you're not. Or in a critical...
Or financial.
Yeah. In school, you're just taught to regurgitate or face the consequences. In school, you're taught to obey and go through your shenanigans. Yeah, if you basically, what they want to happen is for you to be the teacher's opinion. Well, it's really bad in college. It's not as bad in high school. In high school, there's some room for
it's
actual
like the threat of
discourse.
isolation. The threat of isolation from everyone else. They do calling to the principal's office, staying for detention.
Right. Well, and in college, the isolation is the popularity of the crowd.
It's either that or it used to be fucking literally hitting them if they didn't comply. But it is that consequence punishment mindset, which is like so toxic.
Well, it's good to have discipline, but there's a difference between discipline and enforcement of mind control.
Yeah, I think.
And I think we're seeing enforcement of mind control.
You just hold people personally responsible, and then for their own actions, their own free will, and then that becomes
physical discipline's a last resort sort of thing, and I think it should be excluded for that sort of thing, because you do have kids sometimes who come from the wrong side of the tracks, who will yell and cuss and throw stuff and attack you. And I think that's the kind of kid. It's like, you ever have a bunch of kittens as a kid?
I believe I did.
Well, sometimes with kittens, man.
Maybe not puppies. Yes.
Puppies, all right. You get a bunch of them that are good. You get one that just don't know when to quit. You know what I mean? He'll just keep going, keep going, keep going, and if you don't smack him, he will hurt you. Not because he's trying to, he just don't know when to quit, right? Well, I think a lot of these kids in these communities that don't have good parents, they don't know when to quit.
But you don't notice if you lower your dog's IQ points a few times from all the stress and the trauma.
Well,
fair enough, even a light situation. So
I'm not saying I've ever done this. I'm just
the like continuation of consciousness is what that makes humans separate. So they're in that separate moral category.
Well, I just mean there's some kids out there, and I've subbed
like proven long-term effects. Like
I've subbed with them where there are kids out there who do not know when to quit or care, who will bite you, who will kick you, who will scream and
self-defense. That's another story.
Yeah, and the difficulty is in our system, you can't. You even have to have a class to restrain properly. For goodness sake, they don't allow you to think critically. You have to do things via an approved set of standards because of the legal implications.
Don't allow you to carry a gun.
They don't allow you to do anything. So here's the deal. 150 years ago, you'd have people who abused power and beat a bunch of kids. But you'd also have people who enforced a good set of standards, and then get a kid like that who's being a real jackanapes, and smack him upside the head. Not to hurt him, to show him, I'm the boss bear in this situation, cub, and you keep this shenanigans up, you're going to get eaten. Knock it off. You know, to show him, let me make you understand this on a base level.
I think you're looking more at the visible gains than the hidden costs.
Well,
because that breeding that type of culture.
Well, let's look at hidden costs, because what happens is when you don't have any discipline with these kids at all.
No, that's a false dichotomy. Discipline is different.
I'm talking about discipline, not punishment or torture. I'm not talking about abuse. I'm talking about sometimes people don't know where to go, and they're going to fight against
you. You got to crack
it.
them on the nose.
Sometimes, yeah. I've had to have it happen to me. And it was right.
No, you didn't have that.
No.
I had that happen to me.
Okay.
Nothing had to happen.
This scenario right here. Somebody's crossing the street and they ain't looked both ways. You got to grab them out of the street. You got to grab them out of the street so they don't get run over and throw them to the pavement and they scratch their knee. Okay, that hurts a little bit. That's painful. If you didn't do it, they die. Okay, that's the same equivalent as whacking somebody on the nose when they do something that could be bad for their character.
Danger, like that's
okay. So here's the idea of discipline. Discipline prevents you from being in mortal danger by teaching you about situations you will soon encounter, and how to properly respond in those situations.
I think you respond to incentives, so you're constantly being prepared for this physical thing, and I think it transfers it down the line and leads to more problems than it solves, because on the opposite side of that, and everybody's felt this, is had this happen to them from their parents. That resentment that builds up, where you're like, you really took it there, and you get numb to it if they do it a lot, but it's not good.
It depends. Not all situations are ideal. There are situations where abuse happens, and I'm not condoning that.
And it's statistically, horrible outcomes will ensue.
I'm talking about a healthy regimen of discipline, where things of the physical nature are withheld.
That word discipline, though, because
there's a difference between discipline and punishment. You discipline yourself at the gym.
You discipline yourself by learning the negative consequences that automatically accrue to you when you try to do your own thing and it fails. And then you learn from that and fucking correct your behavior. And that's the only way you really learn, instead of it being externally placed upon you or punishment.
Have you ever heard of a punishing workout at the gym? Have you ever heard of working out as disciplining your body?
That would be
That's what I'm talking about.
I would look at somebody sideways if he was like, "Bro, you look like
you discipline.
You look like you discipline your body." I would.
You look like you're a disciplined individual. When I see discipline, I see a different word. I don't see discipline in a negative connotation. I see punishment in a negative connotation.
It includes hitting.
Well, sometimes that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying I don't. There are times when...
With adults, it's always a bad thing, but with kids,
No, it depends on the situation, it depends on the kid. I don't think you should ever smack a Down syndrome kid. I don't think that's a good idea. That's not a good idea. You see what I mean?
Moral message for the day.
Don't smack a Downing. That's not nice.
That's touching the Downs, don't touch. Okay?
Yeah. No, I don't think that's right. But you know what? If you have a little kid... If you are...
I think self-defense, and that's it. There's no justification for initiating violence. That's my argument against the government in itself.
It depends. It's
because the taxation is the inevitable initiation of violence when it comes down to you're not paying it, they come and see you, you resist their,
Alright, let's look at it from an animal approach. Have you ever seen a mother kitten cuff her kittens? Or a mother puppy do that? Cuff them, give them a smack, give them a bark, give them a little bite. Have you ever seen a mother dog?
I had to get an advance.
Have you ever seen
this shit?
Okay, have you ever seen a mother dog give her puppies a little bite to stop doing something?
That's a lion. Why are we on that level?
Okay, now hold your horses. You would vie for the evolutionary ideology, which is to say we're just a more advanced creature.
And if that lion loses a couple IQ points, He won't kill as
I don't
many
think I don't think it loses IQ points. I think when it's done correctly, it gains IQ points. If there's a loss in intelligence quotients, it's because there's abuse going on.
No, you got to universalize that concept then. So boxers must be geniuses.
No. That's a different thing. That's abuse. I'm talking about if you are corrected in your course.
Fucking with you.
All right.
Just
well,
devil's
fair
advocate.
enough. Yeah, I know what you mean. The punch drunk love. I'm talking about if your course was leading towards a cliff and you wouldn't be redirected no matter what happened unless somebody pushed you off it. I think that push would show you where you were wrong and thereby you would gain intelligence. I think that push is discipline. I think what happens is we look at it with the immediate feeling of the pain and the now.
It's that merging of discipline, which can mean an internal state in which you generate that in your own life, or it can mean external punishment for bad stimuli, and that's not. It's a dual meaning.
Let me.
You got to break down.
All right. Let me break in the analogy. Okay, discipline. You're going towards a cliff, and discipline knocks you off the bad course. Punishment. You're going towards the cliff. Instead of getting knocked off the bad course, somebody comes up and smacks you and says, "Stop going that direction."
That's an extreme example of where mortality is at risk.
Well, I'm trying to say that little tiny things are
like interacting with your kid. Like way more people do that than are in like high-speed chases. Where,
did you know that
it's a mortal situation? It's an action movie.
Did you know that kids start doing
everyday shit?
They have habits in relation to how they handle money, which begin around the age of, it might be 5 years old, and from 5 to 9 years old, the way they understand money informs how they treat it as an adult. They just sort of build off that concept. So if you have a 5 to 6 to 7 year old who's stealing or something like that, and they won't listen to you because you're an adult, and whatever, I'm gonna make this money and get all this candy and whatnot. I'm gonna steal from my friends by tricking them out of something, and they won't listen to reason. Sometimes, if you don't discipline them in a way that's physical, that goes beyond their limited understanding, they'll never get to the point where they can realize what they did was wrong. If you just let it go, then they're just gonna think you're stupid and you can't do anything. But if you do that, well, they may not understand what's going on then, but they can't get past that boundary, so they're forced. It's like putting a roadblock in front of an ant. The insect has to go around it. It has no choice. It can't, so it has to go around. So when they go around that, then from the other perspective, they can see where they were wrong.
Because people who see where they're wrong, it's not universal. You can't universalize that. It can't be like
you can
because some people do it without that. Some people like are seriously dysfunctional from having repeated, abuses as a kid.
I'd say look at it this way. Okay, so what's right and wrong in a situation is like the keys on a keyboard. There's black and white keys. Every single key is going to be right and wrong in a different song. But depending on the key the song's in, that'll tell you which note's right or wrong. In reality, the key the song is in is context. The situation's context. The black or white keys, what's right or wrong in that situation depends on context. So there is a universality there.
It's moral relativism.
No, there is an absolute right or wrong in that situation. I'm saying that mankind may not necessarily have the equipment to properly gauge what it is entirely on his own. He may need help. In fact, he must, because mankind is not mentally omnipotent. So that actually
kind of similar to my subatomic particles argument,
which is
that it may be the limitation of our instruments that we can't fully process what's going on with these.
It's possible. String theory and all this kind of stuff indicates that we are a smaller quotient of a larger reality.
The quantum level.
Yeah.
The quantum.
The quantum.
The people that are interested, that nerd out on the quantum mechanical level all day are interesting fucking people.
That's right. But hey, they got a point, because what that is, you can see it right now as you look about you, as you look out from your eyes. If you look close enough at the colors and pictures and everything, at the very background you can see a little static of black and white. It looks like little tiny little dots. If you really look at the edge of your vision, you know what I'm talking about?
Okay, what are the limitations of your peripheral vision?
No, just like limitations of your vision in general. What's making up that wall there? But, oh, there's that scream again. I mean, when you close your eyes, it's not just black, right? You see, it's almost like a patchwork grid, like a chessboard, but really minuscule.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's like...
That is the limit of reality. That is the pixelation of our reality. See, there's pixels on here in the same way, but they're not as small as those because this is a higher resolution
Or is it
simulation.
just your optic nerve hitting the back of your eyelids, and that happens to be...
Well, it turns out the way we see things is inverse from how they are as well. Because of the way the light is switched around in our eye, like a camera or whatever. Camera obscura. I don't know the exact terminology. You know what I'm talking about, though. Yeah. I think that is a function of, like, if you've got a character AI in a game and how it interacts with its environment, it's going to have programmed subroutines that process information as it moves about the simulation. And I think that's what our eyes and our skin and our senses are all about. And sometimes those senses can be obscured by a virus or something in our life or an injury. And that changes how you'd interact with the simulation we're in. Here's what I think life is. I think life is the loading bar before the computer starts. I think life is a simulation. It's a series of things which mold us into what we will be in the next incarnation, etc., in an eternal way, in the same vein as a fractal's shape continues to increase in complexity the deeper you go, and it never ends.
Do you think dolphins do that too? Is the real question here.
I think there's a difference in animal intelligence. I think animals have greater and less intelligence than we attribute to them at the
So
same
we're like
time.
multi-dimensional, shape-shifting beings. I think what we have right now...
I don't know about the shape-shifting, but multi-dimensional, yeah.
I know.
Maybe. I'd have to think about that.
But like the level of achievement we already have is impressive enough compared to what the rest of the Earth has done. Like,
well, remember,
so far ahead. Like we're just like
you mean America?
So many victory laps. Like just human race in general. Like on all the other animals on the planet, we like trophy hunt them and have them in like.
Well, but we're a higher order
we have a
organism.
systematized, whole sector of like eating them.
Yeah, I think it's more evidence that we are not the same class as those animals, and it's ludicrous to say that we came from them. I think that's ridiculous. I think we're a different class of organism, and it deserves some respect and some acknowledgement.
I need another different class of organism.
Yeah. How are we doing? We're at 2:03. All right. We're going to Joe Rogan this shenanigan fest.
I like. Feel good.
Feel good, dude. But yeah, I think we're a totally different class of organism.
I mean, obviously, what the fuck is consciousness?
Consciousness is a number of things, man. What's interesting to me is that we have self-awareness and consciousness of ourselves in the now. I remember being a
These
kid.
mushrooms, man, the stoned ape theory.
The stoned ape theory.
You ever heard that?
No.
It's Terence McKenna's theory that as the rainforests in Africa receded and the grasslands and more in a drier climate, that they were the monkeys that lived in the trees were experimenting with new food sources, and they would follow roaming herds of cattle because they just everything they leave behind, they flip over the patties and be fucking insects and protein and whatever just to stay alive and shit.
Yeah.
And under those patties would also be psilocybin mushrooms.
Right.
And so, if they were experimenting with that, it would, in his theory, represent an evolutionary advantage because, like, in low doses, it increases visual acuity, would help you as a hunter. Slightly higher doses, it gets you like aroused physically and sexually. Then, if you've ever had a significant mushroom mushroom trip. It's like crazy, crazy experience. Like
I have not done that actually. No.
Psychological, like in depth and visual if you close your eyes. But
I can say this though. I mean, there's got to be way less evidence for that than the video game simulation I've been talking about. That mankind came about because a bunch of monkeys started tripping and it changed their consciousness.